Okay. I am no longer sick. Hallelujah. Hi guys, welcome back to my Therian territory. You may call me Thorn, and in today's video I wanted to celebrate with you all the fact that I have reached 15,000 subscribers, which is immensely crazy, like seriously. Just like I mentioned in the post in my community tab, I did not expect to reach literally 1/3 of my already existing subscribers within 4 months. That's a lot. Jesus Christ. Okay, and to be honest, I was kind of like, how am I going to celebrate this? But then I realized I haven't done a Q&A video in forever. I literally the last time I did a Q&A, I had 3,000 subscribers. That's like 1/5 of the amount I have right now. Don't get me wrong, I was just as thankful back then, but like, what? So I've asked you guys within my Discord server to ask a couple of questions, and you guys surely did ask me a couple of questions. So I will be going through that right now. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it. I have gotten a lot of questions, and therefore I will not be answering all of them. I will only be picking out questions that I think are interesting for you guys to hear the answer of. First question: how do people act when you tell them that you are a Therian, specifically a Bettafish Therian? So I don't usually come out to people as Therians. I only come out to them if, like, for example, the topic kind of sparks out of its own, or if I trust them enough to like let them know about this part of me. Usually I don't, because I don't really want to push that into people's faces. However, sometimes the topic just kind of comes up somehow, or anything like that, and then I will definitely kind of state like, okay, well, actually I do identify as a Therian, and I do identify as a non-human animal. But I do have to say, usually I don't come out to them as a Bettafish Therian. I usually only come out to them as a Wolf Therian, and usually I kind of let people kind of discover the rest on their own for themselves, so to speak, because I do usually mention like, oh, I actually have a YouTube channel. Quite a couple of people in the community know me because of that, and whenever I mention that, sometimes they're like so interested that they look it up, and then they will know that I'm also a Bettafish Therian, and sometimes they're just not interested enough, and then that's totally fine too. Usually they react with interest. I've never really had like an actual negative reaction, because I usually don't come out to people when I know that they are not open-minded enough for it to know. So usually I don't get a negative response. Usually it's mostly interest, or kind of just like, okay, interesting, but like not really that interested to like actually know more about it, and that's also fine, you know. I've even had cases where the person was like, oh, actually I think I feel the same way. So I've actually had that before with a friend of mine who turned out to be Dragonkin, because we were like in a whole group of people, and I came out to all of them at some point as a Therian, because it was my class. And at some point there was like a person who was asking questions like, oh, but like, what if I were to experience this and this and this? Does that also mean that I am a Therian? And I was kind of like, well, you could definitely be, because this and this and this. And they were like, oh, well, maybe I am a Therian then. Those cases also happen. Second question: what do you think about being polytherian? Do you think there should be a kind of a limit to it, or a specific amount of Theriatypes that you can be? Also, congrats, and sorry for my bad English. Oh, that's fine. I think you did great. And also, thank you. Personally, of course, polytherianthropy is definitely valid, because I'm a polytherian myself, so it's totally cool. And like, there's many theories and many ways that one can actually be a polytherian, so it's all cool. I personally think that, technically speaking, there is no limit to, when it comes to the amount of Theriatypes one can possess. However, identity is a very personal thing, and it can be very big. It like literally defines who you are, and therefore I'm not gonna name an amount, because I don't want people to feel like invalid because they may have that amount or even more. But like, at a certain point, I kind of feel like maybe you should look into what Therianthropy actually means, and maybe also look into other types of definitions, such as, for example, other-hearted, or maybe you are a polymorph, or anything alike. I personally kind of feel like if you have like a lot of stereotypes, like when you can no longer count them on your fingers or something like that, I do kind of feel like maybe you should kind of look into what identity actually means, because I personally doubt if it would be possible for all of those stereotypes to actually define that person and actually frequently return like that, because that's a lot of non-human experiences that one possesses, like a lot. So maybe it's also possible that some stereotypes are actually one stereotype, for example, and they've just been a little too quick to like confirm a stereotype. So yeah, there's many different things, but even so, like I'm not someone to judge someone for having many stereotypes. I'm not bothered by it. Sometimes I do kind of have the urge like to check whether they understand what stereotypy is or not, but in the end it's not really my position to do so. I don't really have the right to like question them, because that's of course kind of getting into gatekeeping area, so I don't recommend for people to do that specifically. But yeah, what are some of your favorite moments since being part of the Alter Human community? Definitely meeting people, for sure. I really love the Therian meets that I have been to. But generally also I really love the fact that I just have a couple of friends living somewhere within the country that I sometimes hang out with still, that are also Alter Human, so that's really nice. And I really enjoy just spending time with them at times, and at least seeing them hopefully at least once in half a year or something. I really enjoy meeting them, and that's definitely been the greatest thing that I've personally experienced within the community. And the second thing would definitely be my channel. It has been like a major part in what I have been doing within the community, and I've also like kind of made a platform for Alter Humans to come together as well and stuff. So I do definitely realize that yeah, that's also one of the greater things that I have been doing within the community that I personally enjoy. It's really just like a big part of my life now. So I think in conclusion, the bigger answer is the people. Definitely. Another question, what is your most expensive gear? That's a great question. It kind of depends on what I would consider gear, because I do technically consider my taxidermy and viticulture collection to also be part of my gear, and there's definitely some expensive pieces in there. I am gonna go for accessories only for now, and then oh yeah, definitely my ears, now that I think about it. Hold on, let me grab them. Yeah, so definitely my ears. These, you've probably seen them in a couple of my videos before. I think these are the most expensive. These for me were 65 euros plus shipping costs, so that's quite an investment, so to speak. So this is probably my most expensive gear, but it's definitely not the only expensive piece that I have bought, to be honest. But that's the good part about being an adult Therian. You can actually spend and invest some money into gear, which is really great. Can you tell us a little bit about your girlfriend? What is she like? How long have you two been together? Etc. Also, congratulations on 50k. Thank you. My girlfriend is the best. And she's actually on the other side of the room, so I don't know if she can hear me. But yeah, how do you describe my girlfriend? We've been together for 3 years and a couple of months. So about 3 years and a quarter, I think. So that's quite a long time now. We actually met each other during the Therian meets, so that's pretty cool. She personally also identifies as something Alter Human. I personally always kind of tell her that she is just like a polymorph, but she doesn't really like that identity, so it's always kind of fluctuating and stuff. Right now she's kind of settled on the fox, but like it always changes, to be honest. But she's a great person. She's the most accepting and open-minded person that I know. She's incredibly caring of the people around her. She's a little goofball, that's also for sure. And she's also very like poetic in a way. Like she's very deep and she thinks very poetically at times. Not always, of course, but like she has a very deep way of thinking that I always kind of admire in a way. Yeah, lots of positive things. I love her a lot. And I love talking about her, of course. I could do another video with her soon if you guys want to, because we've been wanting to do a video about what it's like to be in a relationship with two Alter Human beings. So yeah, we could definitely do that. Do you have any other kin or kith types that you are questioning? Congrats on 50k. Thank you. That's a good question. Kith types, I don't think so, because I don't really actively question Kith/heart types. I usually just kind of like, it kind of comes on my path, and then when looking back at it, I'm always kind of just like, oh yeah, that's actually a heart type now that I think about it. Or a sympath, as I prefer to call it. Looking back at it and thinking about the definition of heart type, I was kind of just like, oh yeah, now that I think about it, that's definitely a heart type. So yeah, that's usually how I figured out my Kith types. But for kin types or stereotypes, I would definitely say that in the back of my mind, I still always question the gibbon ape for some reason, and I'm still not entirely sure if that's actually a part of who I am. It kind of comes and goes, and I'm not entirely sure if it's something that stays at some point or whether it will be fluctuating forever, and whether that means that I want to include it into my identity or not. Should that ever happen, should I ever confirm it as a stereotype, I will definitely make a video about it, that's for sure. But I don't think that's ever gonna happen, to be honest, because I'm very content with all of the stereotypes that I have now, which is the black-faced wolf and the bearfish. I feel like when I describe myself with those two beings, it's complete. Like, there's no other non-human behavior that's left. But there is certainly, sometimes there's like a phase where I'm kind of like, but the gibbon though, that's kind of like, there's still some type of connection there. Which sounds weird because I know I usually don't say that kin types or stereotypes are connection based, but you get what I mean. There's something. Do you sometimes get phantom limbs, like ears, a tail, or etc.? By the way, congrats on 50k, thank you. Oh yes I do. It's actually one of the shifts that I experienced the most, and specifically my ears actually. My phantom ears are very strong. I pretty much experience them all the time. Whenever I kind of like visualize what I look like, I always have ears. They're actually kind of over here. Most people experience for their ears to be here, but for me it's kind of like between that place and my human ears, so it's kind of like over here. And they're big, like really big. Whenever I hear something around me, those ears also interact with my surroundings and stuff. So those are very, very active. Sometimes there's like a phase where I don't experience them as much. And sometimes there's a phase where I experience them like literally 24/7, like literally all the time. Funnily enough, my tail is actually very rare for me. I barely ever experience my tail. I don't really know why. I don't really have a connection to my tail, I guess, for some reason, even though I do really prefer to wear tails as an accessory. But yeah, I actually barely ever really have a phantom tail, and if I experience a phantom tail, it's usually more like the action of wagging that I am sort of experiencing, kind of like, oh yeah, I feel very, very happy and therefore I want to wag my tail, but it's not there. I don't really feel my tail, but I want to wag my tail in a way, so that's kind of different. I wouldn't really say that that's an actual phantom tail. And I often experience, when I'm in bed, for example, I often experience my paws, whether it's my behind paws or my front paws, it doesn't really matter. I experience both. What are your thoughts about thunderstorms and rain? That's actually really funny because, well, rain in general, I don't really care because I'm actually someone who is less bothered by rain than the average person, I'd say. If it's like really hard, of course, then I kind of struggle, but like usually people always kind of shit on the rain. They're just kind of like, ah, it's raining, that's so depressing, or something like that. But I don't really mind personally, and I do actually kind of relate it to my wolf stereotype because wolves also really could not care less about rain. They're just kind of like, okay, it's raining, cool, you know? But thunderstorms is a different story because when it's thundering outside while I am outside, I actually can get pretty scared because I am kind of scared of unexpected loud noises. That's actually one of my biggest fears, and therefore I'm kind of scared of suddenly hearing a very loud thunder or something, or like a lightning strike. But when I'm inside, I love it a lot. So like, as long as I'm safe inside, I really don't mind thunderstorms, and I actually kind of like thunderstorms. But as soon as I have to go outside, I'm actually pretty scared. So do you have any unpopular opinion on the ultra human community? Oh, that's a good question because I've actually made that video before where I reacted to other people's unpopular opinions about the Ultrahuman community, but I didn't give one myself, which is interesting. It's always like either I find people who don't agree or they do agree, but I never have an opinion where no one agrees with me. So I kind of doubt if I have an actual unpopular opinion. Generally, so long as it's ethical, all Ultrahuman identities are valid. So like fact-kin and stuff and fiction-kin, like some people are against that stuff, but I am personally kind of just like everyone experiences something different and that's all cool. Even if it's fact-kin, there's like an ethical way of being fact-kin. I don't really care, to be honest. So I think that's my unpopular opinion, is that just all identities are valid so long as the identity is ethical. What is witchcraft to you? Some of you guys may not know this, but I'm actually a witch, so I do certainly perform witchcraft. I sometimes use the fancy word occult practitioner because I like that. What witchcraft means to me is basically just putting your beliefs into practice, whichever way you want to do it. And not everyone may agree with me on that, but I personally believe that as soon as you have a certain belief or a certain religion and you do anything with it objective wise, then it's witchcraft. So in that sense, to me, it's kind of like a lifestyle, because when I perform witchcraft, it's kind of like just part of how I want to live my life. Do you feel proud being a Therian? And if so, why? That's a good question. I like that. Yeah, I do feel proud being a Therian, for sure. And the reason why is definitely because I feel like it's something very unique and it's something special. I very often very much enjoy being a Therian, and therefore it's something that I am happy about. It's just simply having that identity. I think my life would be much more boring if I weren't a Therian. I think a lot of things in my life would have been more dull, so to speak, and therefore having that in my life is something that I can surely be proud about. Yeah. How many of the people you know that you are a Therian? I like that question. I say that about all of my questions, but it doesn't matter. I like all of your questions. So my entire family pretty much knows that I'm a Therian at this point. That's basically because I've individually come out to them at some point, because my family is like the most open-minded family ever and I love them very much, and I've already come out to them as like non-binary and as gay before and stuff like that, and therefore I kind of already knew what it was like to come out to them. And they are also generally very, very intelligent people, and I'm always very proud of being in my family, and therefore because they are so intelligent, at least that's what I think, because they are so intelligent, they are also very much able to remain open-minded about these kind of things. And you know, not everybody in my family is like super behind it. They're not all rooting for me for it specifically. They're just kind of like, okay, that's something that they do and that's fine, like just let them do that. But there are also some people in my family who really enjoy, for example, my YouTube channel, so they really like seeing my videos and stuff. For example, my mom, she really loves what I do and she likes to see me enjoying what I do, so that's always really great. But back to the question, so mostly my family, a lot of friends of mine are also Ultrahumans, so of course they know that I am a Therian. Some of my human friends, so to speak, also probably know. I think I've come out to them before, but it kind of like faded into the background. It's not really that important to them, of course. My colleagues don't know because it's just a very different kind of culture, and I would never wear a tail to that place. I'm not even allowed to, but like I just wouldn't. Of course, a lot of people on the internet know that I'm a Therian. That's also a thing. I've had this question a lot, so I'm just gonna answer it. What is/are your favorite music genres and why? I have a lot. I have so many music genres that I listen to, so I cannot answer this question very straightforward. I cannot say that's my genre, I only listen to that genre. There are people out there who do that, but I can't. I have many different music genres that I really enjoy listening to. So, but one of my favorites would definitely be EDM music, and that's mostly like dubstep, for example, or rhythm, or drum and bass, or what else. But I also really enjoy alternative music, so like rock-ish music, alternative rock. So like more emo bands kinda, you know. But I actually also really enjoy less popular genres such as tribal music or Viking music or anything like that. I really like Adrian from Ziegler, for example, so like Celtic music, or like Wardruna or Dunheim, you know, so that's more like Viking music. I get this question a lot as well. How do you find Therians near you? When it comes to me personally, I happen to be lucky because there are a lot of Therians within the Netherlands and within Belgium. So I just happen to be very lucky when it comes to like being able to meet a lot of new people. But when it comes to like advice on how you guys can find Therians close by or Ultrahumans close by or whatever, well, first of all, one really good trick that I can give you all is the fact that there's Ultrahuman maps which are like collaborative. So for example, my Discord server has an Ultrahuman map where you can like ask the stuff to like put a pin on it, and then you will see which Therians live close to you. It's never the full address, of course, so it always has to be kind of like a vague place where you live, the nearest city, for example. But yeah, you can definitely kind of tell like, oh, are there any Therians or Ultrahumans living close to me? And another thing would definitely be that you can just simply look up on Google, because that's what I did, because I was kind of just looking up Therian meets, and then I figured out like, oh, there's actually videos of Therian meets, and then I found out that I was actually in the Netherlands and Belgium, so I was like, yeah, I'ma go there. It's probably possible that, like, for example, you look up Therian meetups and then your state, for example, and then see if there happen to be any already, and you can also organize them yourself, of course. So do, of course, be careful, be safe. If you are 14, don't go hanging out with a 20-year-old, for example. Like, just be very careful, please. How do you come up with ideas for videos? The community, for sure. Like, the community simply inspires me. I really enjoy interacting within the community, and therefore there's always interesting topics coming up where I'm kind of just like, oh, maybe I should make a video about that myself, you know? I actually have a list on my laptop, a Word document that has like a full list of videos that I want to make in the future, and I always try to keep this up as much as I can, and if I think of an idea, I write it down ASAP because I tend to forget about it very fast as well. So yeah, that's what I usually do. I get inspired by the community, I get inspired by friends around me and stuff like that, and then I write it down and try not to forget about it. I hope you guys enjoyed looking a little more into my personal life and me answering some questions about that personal life. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, please leave a like down below, or maybe comment down below, or if you have any critique, you can also comment down below, of course. And if you really like my videos and want to see more in the future, perhaps consider to subscribe. And now I'll be seeing you guys in my Therian territory in the next video. Bye. A massive thanks to my Therian territory members Bloody Tommy, Daphne's Den, Shadow the Wolf, Arden Zephyr, Clutch, Thomas, Voilo, and Waita. Join the Therian territory membership for early access, extra features and content, and more personal contact with me.